Hello, grumpy old fart here. I try to do real stuff on this channel. I'm trying to keep everything as real as possible. However, I had a friend who bugged me to do a video on conspiracy theories and UFOs and Bigfoot and stuff like that. So I started breaking down and doing conspiracies that we could prove, stuff we knew was true. Then he kept bugging me about Bigfoot and UFOs. So I did a video on Bigfoot and UFOs. Not very long after that, I was doing a current events, and there was a story that came out that the Navy had admitted that some photos and videos taken by some of their pilots were genuine. They were real. They weren't supposed to be released, but they had been. They had been leaked. And they were real. They were genuine. And I got to thinking about that. So I did another video called UFOs, Evidently. And that one had a lot of views. Apparently people really like that. So my wife had a good idea, and I love a good UFO story as much as the next person. Because they're fun and exciting, they make you imagine things, and it's all good. And we're big science fiction fans here. But she had a good idea that I should do UFO stories as well. And I got to thinking, well, if the Navy admits that they're real, it's a subject we can broach with some actual logic and credibility. But it also struck me that these days, any teen with a laptop, idiot with a laptop actually, with the right software, you can make a fake video of a UFO, and it's pretty good. It's hard to debunk. So, I'm going to do historical stuff that people laughed at for years. But now, because of this Navy announcement that the UFOs are genuine, we have to look back on with some credibility. Okay? Here we go. First one I'm going to do. 1955. Kelly, Kentucky. Okay? There was it's a very rural area called Kelly, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And August 21st, 1955, there was a man named Billy Ray Tyler and his wife were visiting. I'm not sure if they were relatives or friends, but anyway, they were visiting these people over on the Sutton farm. And on this particular night, Billy went out to the well to fetch water. Keep in mind, this is 1955 in Kentucky, rural Kentucky, very out in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. Okay? So he goes out and he's drawing water from the well. And he sees this huge shining object. And it comes down, and he sees it landing about a quarter mile away. He gets all excited and he runs back in. He's scared. And he's telling everybody what's going on. Of course, nobody takes him seriously. And it wasn't long after that, weird things started happening. The dog started to bark. They went outside to see what was going on, and they saw a creature 3 to 4 feet tall, and it was making its way towards him with its hands up. They said it was nothing like they'd ever seen. Excuse me. Large eyes, long, thin mouth, thin, short legs, big ears, and its hands had claws. So Billy had his rifle and he fired. It's a .22 caliber. He fired it, bam. And Lucky, the guy that was with him, was named Lucky. He had a shotgun. He fired a shotgun at the thing, and apparently it didn't affect him. So, they knew they'd hit it because it was real close range, and it did a backflip and then scurried off into the woods. They went back in the house, and it wasn't long after that they saw creatures looking in the windows at them. Long story short, this family had an all-night firefight with these beings at their house. They were shooting through the windows, doing everything they could to keep these things out. Those things were all over the place. They were scurrying around, These things had apparently it wasn't. These bullets had almost no effect on them. They'd get shot and run away, but then they'd come back. Excuse me. When it got to be early morning, they finally decided, our guns ain't doing nothing to these guys, so we got to get the hell out of Dodge. So they all piled into 2 vehicles and took off. They made a run for it, and they made it into town. And they talked to the sheriff, Russell Greenwell. He thought they were joking. But this family was persistent, and they were scared. They were scared. It's in the report. The police went out there and searched. They found no evidence of the creatures, but they did find lots of bullet holes through windows and in the walls of the house and things like that. So they weren't drunk, and they were genuinely frightened. And the police left at about 2:15 in the morning. After the police were gone, the aliens returned. And the gun battle resumed. There were bullets flying everywhere. Apparently the gunfire had no effect on them, and it was... there was 11 people in the house at the time, and they were fighting for their lives. All right. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm fighting a cold here. Bear with me. This was a long drawn out thing. The Air Force came and investigated, and the public reaction was that these people had gone crazy. Everybody thought it was a hoax, but they weren't making any money. They're not made any money off of this. They're not. I mean, honestly, things like this are what get me, okay? Because if an entire family with I mean, they were scared. They were shooting at something. You don't shoot up your house as part of a hoax and not get paid for it. I mean, if somebody's paying you to do the hoax, that's one thing, but these people weren't making any money. And keep in mind, this was 1955. Okay? It's rural Kentucky. Now, people who have tried to explain this away, the Air Force and some other people, they said it was monkeys had escaped from the zoo or from some traveling circus or whatever. They were flying squirrels, all kind of stuff. Now, keep in mind, this is rural Kentucky in the 50s, okay? In 1955. I'm going to go out on a limb. This is rural Kentucky. They had a well that they were drawing water from. That means they didn't have running water in the house. Chances are they didn't have electricity. Well, maybe they did. We don't know. But if they were drawing water from a well, I'm going to say it's Kentucky in the 50s. Chances are they'd been hunting. Okay? I'm going to say the family knows what a squirrel looks like, even in the dark. And I don't know a squirrel in the world that gets to freaking 4 feet tall. That's ridiculous. So, let's give this family a little bit of credence. Okay? This family knows the importance of firearm safety. This family knows hunting. This family knows what animals look like. This family probably knows what a monkey looks like. Okay? They've seen them in traveling circuses and shows and things. If they had seen something like that, chances are they wouldn't have opened up on it with their entire arsenal. Come on. They certainly wouldn't have blown their house to pieces trying to defend themselves from squirrels. That's asinine stupid. This family saw something. They were scared for their lives. Okay? This family deserves some credence. This family deserves a national apology because the whole nation looked at them like they were crazy for a short time there. Nowadays people go, well, I don't remember that. Well, guess what? It was in 1955. Okay? Things like this bug me. Because think about it. This family has lived under national scorn for a long time because of this. And now the Navy comes out and announces UFOs are real. Well, if the UFOs are real, who's flying them? If they're not from Earth, Somebody's got to be flying them. If they're not from Earth, they're from someplace else. And if it's from someplace else, chances are the people flying them ain't human. If they're not human and they're here on Earth, maybe this family saw them. I'm not trying to, I don't know one way or the other. But I know this. This family was shamed, scorned. Okay? They were thought to be provoking a hoax. Okay? This family was scared. They shot their house to pieces. I'm sorry, this family saw something. They saw something that they couldn't explain, and these are some down-to-earth people. These are down-to-earth people. They don't have wild imaginations. Chances are they'd never seen... I bet none of these people had ever flown on an airplane. They're so down-to-earth. Okay? And I'm not trying to sound bad, but this is one of the more believable cases because there's evidence. Okay? These people saw something. That's all I'm saying. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.